I'm gonna show you what can happen in the event that you're just a tiny bit off, okay?
So you're gonna intentionally miss?
Of course. Goes like this. Oh.
The most watched WNBA moment this month, it's not even from a game. Caitlin Clark just teamed up with Dude Perfect, and the fallout is shaking the league. Caitlin Clark just made WNBA history without even stepping on the court. While sidelined with a quad injury, she managed to draw millions of new fans, crush social media, and send a brutally clear message to the league, its players, and its critics. She is the WNBA. The timing of her latest viral moment couldn't be more symbolic and more damaging to the league's narrative.
Data blindfold.
Blindfolded. Let's go. Just like GameBridge can assist you with your savings, I'm here to assist the dudes with making shots.
We appreciate it, Caitlin. Every shot you make is one less that I have to do.
You climb the mountain high.
The latest proof? Her collaboration with YouTube titans Dude Perfect. Dude Perfect is more than a YouTube channel, it's sports content royalty. With over 60 million subscribers and 18 billion views, they're mainstream giants. Now imagine what happens when they team up with the most popular women's basketball player in America. The result, a video featuring over 50 jaw-dropping three-point shots from Clark, each crazier than the last, and the views shot up like one of her logo threes, instantly viral, millions of views in days. The comments flooded in. The reach, off the charts. More engagement than the WNBA could dream of with any marketing campaign.
Crystal ball challenge, here we go.
Oh. I'm not going to dribble this time. I'm learning.
Oh.
Yeah!
Oh! Oh! That's a make. That's a make. Find a way. Airball. Oh, no. Show us how it's done.
But here's the kicker. This viral moment dropped while Caitlin Clark was injured, and what happened next laid bare just how dependent the WNBA is on her. When news broke that Clark would be out for at least 2 weeks with a left quadriceps strain, you could feel the shift. Attendance for Fever games plummeted, secondary ticket prices down more than 300%. Games that were going for $80 a seat dropped to $25 or less overnight, and the fans weren't shy about it. As one parent told reporters, once we found out Caitlin wasn't playing, it didn't make sense to fly to Indianapolis. We're Caitlin fans before Fever fans. It wasn't just ticket sales. Television ratings for games without Caitlin Clark hit shockingly low levels. The Seattle Storm versus Dallas Wings game, no Clark, pulled just 339,000 viewers. By contrast, Clark's games were pulling as much as 3.3 million. That contrast is the story. Clark's debut drew an average of 2.7 million viewers, and her Fever vs. Liberty matchup peaked at 3.3 million, the highest ever on CBS for the WNBA. Meanwhile, non-Clark games hover in the low hundreds of thousands. Attendance jumped 319% with her arrival, and she's even outselling NBA stars in jersey sales. The Indiana Fever transformed from mid-tier to national spotlight practically overnight, all because of one player. She's not a needle mover, she is the needle. Respected economist Ryan Brewer calculated Clark's impact for 2025 could top $1 billion. That's not a typo. One athlete, one season, $1 billion in total league economic activity, and her impact is already visible. The Indiana Fever franchise valuation jumped from $90 million to $340 million. That's generational wealth created in a few months. Sponsors are lining up. TV networks are reshuffling schedules. And yet, parts of the WNBA treat her rise as a threat, not a gift. Clark's branding appeal extends beyond basketball. She's approachable, charismatic, and relatable. Her persona connects with audiences across age groups. Whether it's a parent watching with their kids or teens discovering her on YouTube or TikTok, she pulls people in. That's rare, and it's something you can't manufacture. This isn't just hype. It's sustained, data-backed, culturally relevant star power. It's something leagues wait decades for, and somehow it still feels like the WNBA doesn't fully know what to do with it. While Clark's bringing in new fans by the millions, not everyone is celebrating. Some players have publicly downplayed her popularity. Certain media voices have framed her supporters as bandwagoners. There's been a weird resistance, almost resentment, towards the fans she's bringing in. Caitlin Clark has indeed brought millions of new fans to the WNBA, with many crediting her for the league's surge in viewership and attendance. Instead of embracing the spotlight, the league sometimes seems more concerned with gatekeeping it. The result? Missed opportunity after missed opportunity. And when a league investigation hung a cloud over Clark and her fan base, despite no evidence, the damage was done. Instead of apology or clarity, silence. And fans noticed. In a friendly match against Brazil, the opposing national team treated Clark like a global superstar. Players mobbed her for photos. Coaches praised her publicly. The love was genuine, loud, and clear. It was a stunning contrast to the cold shoulder she's sometimes gotten from within her own league, and it raised a painful question. Why is the WNBA so hesitant to fully embrace its biggest star? This video is more than fun, it's a proof point. It shows how Caitlin Clark can engage millions of fans with no league help, no primetime slot, no team backing. Just skill, personality, and a camera. Her fans will follow her anywhere. And they are. So while ESPN is airing WNBA games that look like professional cornhole events by comparison, Clark's content is racking up tens of millions of views and embedding her into sports pop culture. Clark and the Hawkeyes set 3 straight viewership records. Their loss to South Carolina in the national championship game drew 18.7 million viewers, and it peaked at about 24 million viewers. This is Steph Curry territory, this is Jordan-level attention. And the WNBA? It needs to catch up. Earlier this year, WNBA players opted out of the collective bargaining agreement, hoping to capitalize on rising attention. They were demanding more pay, more benefits, more everything. The leverage seemed obvious. Until Caitlin got hurt. Now with just a few games of low ratings and empty seats, owners have ammunition. They can point to data and say, take away Caitlin and we're back to square one. That's not a negotiation, it's a reset. You can't push for massive pay raises when 95% of the attention is tied to one player. It's brutal, but it's business, and it's not just business, it's a wake-up call. The owners now know exactly where the power lies, and unless the rest of the league can step up and create comparable draw, that leverage gap only widens. One injury shouldn't tank your entire season, but in the WNBA, it does. That's a problem. Clark is doing everything she can to lift the WNBA viral content, high-energy performances, crossover appeal, but the league wasn't ready. Or worse, they were resistant. This is what makes the Dude Perfect video such a powerful moment. It's joyful, it's light, it's viral, and it happened outside the control of the WNBA. In a few weeks, it'll likely be the most viewed WNBA-related moment of the month, and it won't even involve a WNBA game. And if that doesn't scare the WNBA leadership, it should. The league faces a choice: embrace Caitlin Clark and everything she brings, or continue to gatekeep and fragment. One path leads to mainstream success, the other leads to resentment and missed opportunity. Because if Clark keeps growing outside the WNBA's walls, YouTube, brand deals, global events, fans might follow her, not the league. And when that happens, the league loses control of its future. The real tragedy would be if Clark eventually decides she doesn't need the league at all. If the support doesn't show up soon, from teammates, from leadership, from media, she has the brand power to thrive entirely outside of it. Caitlin Clark is showing what's possible. The question is, will the WNBA step up or stay stuck? Drop the comments, like and share the video if you're riding the wave with Clark. She's not just the face of women's basketball. She's rewriting the rules.
Allowing defenders to get physical with her without calling fouls, to bully her, instead of accepting and embracing her league-changing, league-lifting impact.
Caitlin Clark has just been thrust into the center of a new scandal that has left the basketball world stunned. And what Saturday's footage revealed about the referee's treatment of her has completely shattered the WNBA's image of fairness and integrity. What happened during the final seconds of Indiana's heartbreaking 90-88 loss to New York wasn't just bad officiating. It was deliberate sabotage caught on camera, and the evidence is so damning that it's impossible to explain away as human error or missed calls. The explosive moment came with 2.2 seconds remaining and everything on the line. Clark had the ball at half court after receiving an inbound pass from Sophie Cunningham, with the Fever trailing by just 2 points. and needing a miracle to force overtime or steal an improbable victory. As Clark drove toward the basket, Liberty defender Natasha Cloud made contact that was so obvious, so egregious, and so undeniably a foul that even casual fans watching at home immediately recognized the blown call. Cloud pushed her shoulder directly into Clark's body, disrupting her shot attempt and knocking the ball loose in a move that would have resulted in free throws in any fairly officiated game. The footage captures Clark's disbelief as she throws her arms up, yelling, "You gotta be kidding me!" Then turns to the ref and asks, "Are you serious?" Summing up what millions of fans were thinking. But this wasn't just one missed call. The post-game stats tell a bigger story. A -31 free throw gap, with Indiana shooting just 15 compared to New York's 46. For a team that constantly attacks the rim, that kind of disparity is almost unheard of. It points to something deeper than bad officiating. Coach Stephanie White's furious post-game comments may be the strongest public criticism of WNBA refs in league history. "I thought she got fouled," White said, her voice trembling with barely controlled anger. "I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us these last few games. A -31 free throw discrepancy. I might be able to understand that if we're chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. The disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable." White's comments represent the first time a WNBA coach has directly accused referees of systematic bias, using the word egregious to describe what she's witnessing. When a professional coach reaches the point where she's willing to risk fines and league discipline to speak out about corruption, you know the situation has reached a crisis point. The most damning part of White's statement came when she addressed the consistency issue. "We're not looking for a change. We're just looking for consistency. The disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. It's disappointing that it doesn't go both ways, but we can't allow that to consume us." This wasn't a coach complaining about isolated bad calls. This was a professional acknowledging a systematic pattern of bias that has been building over multiple games. The phrase, "it doesn't go both ways," is particularly revealing, suggesting that the referees are applying different standards to different teams. What makes this corruption even more devastating is the timing and stakes involved. Clark was on the verge of making WNBA history with what would have been her 11th game with 20 points and 10 assists, a feat that would have set a new league record. The missed foul call didn't just cost the Fever a potential victory, it robbed Clark of a chance to etch her name in the record books once again. The difference in how Caitlin Clark is officiated compared to other stars is now so blatant that even Liberty fans were uncomfortable. Videos from the arena show supporters from both teams reacting in disbelief to the non-call, with some Liberty fans even defending Clark's right to fair treatment. But the issue goes far beyond one missed foul. All game long, Clark took hits with no calls, while soft fouls were repeatedly called against the Fever. Footage shows clear contact that would earn most stars a trip to the line, but not Clark. When she tried to speak to the refs, they dismissed her completely, showing a level of disregard that felt intentional, not accidental. Aaliyah Boston's post-game comments revealed how the systematic bias has affected the entire team's mentality. When it comes to accepting the calls, it's like we don't really have a choice, because they're going to call what they want to call. So for us, we just have to finish through contact. If we don't get it, we don't get it, but we have to give ourselves the best opportunity to get that basket. Boston's quiet acceptance of biased officiating highlights a major failure in WNBA refereeing. When players expect unfair treatment, the game's integrity is lost. Saturday's non-call sparked a firestorm online, with fans flooding social media to document the bias and demand action. Some predicted referees would be replaced by AI, while others flat out accused them of refusing to uphold fairness. One fan summed it up best: "We read about killing the golden goose as kids. The WNBA is doing it in real life by letting their most-watched player get mauled game after game. This situation underscores a major problem. The WNBA is allowing clear, repeated bias against its biggest star to continue unchecked, risking the very player driving record ratings, sold-out arenas, and a surge in popularity." Despite Caitlin Clark's massive impact on the league's growth, officials keep targeting her, and it's starting to affect not just her performance, but the Fever's season as a whole. At 2-2, Indiana is off to a better start than last year. But the mental toll of unfair treatment is visible. Saturday's non-call, broadcast live on CBS, exposed the issue to millions. Multiple angles showed clear contact, yet 3 referees ignored it, something that looks far more like a pattern than a mistake. The non-call with 2.2 seconds left adds a deeper layer to the controversy. In the game's most critical moment, officials ignored a clear foul on the league's biggest star, making the decision feel intentional. Clark's stat line, 18 points, 10 assists, 10 turnovers, and 2 for 11 from 3, shows a player battling not just her opponents, but also consistent bias. Her frustration was clear and impacted her play. The bigger issue is the league's integrity. The bias is now too obvious to ignore. Coach White's bold criticism marks a historic moment, openly challenging the fairness of WNBA officiating. The WNBA now faces a turning point. Address the clear bias or risk losing credibility and fans. Saturday's footage leaves no room for denial. Officiating errors were blatant and damaging. For Caitlin Clark, this is just the latest in a troubling pattern of unfair treatment, with her visible frustration showing she's had enough. The Fever were in position to beat the defending champs, but a mix of poor execution and biased calls handed New York an undeserved win. The evidence is undeniable, and the corruption is now public. The league must act or let its integrity continue to crumble.
A timeout for Indiana. Screening action down low. Clark has to get open. 1 second left. Clark doesn't get the shot off. Cloud locks her up, and New York comes into Indianapolis and takes the checkered flag.
Caitlin Clark is used to the spotlight. But what unfolded in the final seconds of the Indiana Fever's matchup against the New York Liberty left fans stunned, her coach furious, and the basketball world in shock. It was supposed to be another chance for Clark to shine. With just under 3 seconds on the clock and her team trailing by 2, she received the inbounds pass, took a dribble, and rose up to take a potential game-winning three-pointer. But before she could even get the shot off, Natasha Cloud stripped the ball away. No whistle. No foul, just the sound of the buzzer echoing through Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Clark stood frozen, arms raised in disbelief. She swung a fist in the air, then turned to the referees, searching for an explanation that never came. The Fever had lost, 90-88. "I thought she got fouled," said Fever head coach Stephanie White after the game, and she didn't stop there. "I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games, a -31 free throw discrepancy, and I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim." White's frustration wasn't just about a single missed call. She and the team believed the officiating had been consistently lopsided for several games in a row. According to her, it wasn't just one play, it was a pattern. And it wasn't just that final no call. The Fever had several other key moments late in the game where they felt wronged. They argued that Cloud had also fouled DeWanna Bonner on a blocked shot just moments earlier. Then came the controversial whistle on Lexi Hull, which gave Sabrina Ionescu 2 free throws with 2.9 seconds left. Free throws that turned out to be the game winners. Without a timeout left to challenge, Indiana was helpless to stop the cascade of what they believed were unfair calls. Clark, who finished with 18 points, 10 assists, and 10 turnovers, had her struggles early. She turned the ball over 9 times in the first 3 quarters.